We the mafia. 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 Bills mafia. Bills mafia. We the mafia. We the mafia. Bills mafia. Bills mafia. We the mafia. Bills mafia. Bills mafia.
Alrighty, Bills Mafia, what is cooking today? Welcome to the Mafia Cast. Of course, I'm your host with my two co-hosts and good friends, Casey and Mike. What is up, guys?
What's going on?
I love winning football games.
Yeah.
I mean, it is definitely better than the alternative.
Yeah, it's better than to be where the Patriots and Dolphins are. Right?
They made it exciting.
Yeah. Let's not. Yeah, whatever. Dolphins. That game to me. It's hard to explain, honestly. You guys were there, and I remember texting you guys at one point, like, "What's going on in the stadium?" Like, and Mike, what did you say to me? What was going on?
Well, like early on, it was pretty calm. It was really laid back, and there was really no worries. I mean, everyone thought we were going to go in there and win, but not quite like that. So, in the beginning, yeah, very very chill, and then, boy, did we get amped up there near the end. It was loud.
Yeah, I mean, it was in the beginning. It felt like a business trip. It felt like everybody was. It felt like everybody was there to do a job. We were there to see this team go out, do a job, do one thing, and destroy the Dolphins. And they did that in the first half, and we were like, all right, like, let's go. Like, this is how it's going. Was supposed to. And next thing you knew, we were like, oh shit. Like, this is going exactly how Buffalo Bills football goes.
What is happening? Yeah.
And then Josh Allen does Josh Allen things. He turns the ball over, but then he goes out and wins the football game. Like, it was like, it's like all he needs to do is flip a switch. And he's like, all right, like, you want to actually try to make this a game, I'll shut it right back down real quick.
Defense had stops too at the end.
Yeah. I mean, it seemed like to me, it didn't seem like the game was as close as the final score.
Yeah, it kind of had that feel. Like, I think we had close to 500 yards total of offense. The Dolphins had a little over 200. Almost exactly the same stat line as Week 3, when we beat them in every possible statistical category except for, unfortunately, the one that matters, and that's the scoreboard, right? I wasn't worried going into the game, but there was some aspect of we're supposed to blow these guys out. Sometimes when that's the case, it doesn't happen, and you get a way scarier game or even an upset. It's happened before, right? I mean, it's the NFL. But when we jumped out to 17-0, I was like, here we go. Okay, we're golden. And then when in that interception that he threw, was it McKenzie?
No.
That he was trying to hit?
Which time?
The first interception.
McKenzie was inactive. Who was it? See, I was trying to think back. I was trying to think back today to who he was.
It was on the other end of the field.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
Whoever it was, yeah. Anyway. And I mean, props to Xavier Howard. That was a play. He made a really nice catch on that I don't think most corners make, honestly. I've heard some people say it was a bad decision on Allen's part. I don't know necessarily it's a bad decision. Just he could have led a little bit better, maybe a better throw.
Yeah.
And because he was open, he had step on him, but he just a little bit of an underthrow. He catches that, and we're up 21-0. You have the Dawson Knox drop in the end zone. That's 28. Diggs had a drop. The interception.
I wouldn't call that Diggs touchdown a drop. I would call that a touchdown.
No, yeah,
that was a touchdown.
Nah, because the ball was sliding down, and he didn't have complete control over him.
You stick out your hand. If that ball just sticks in your hand and stops spinning, that's possession to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it didn't. Well, maybe we were talking about different ones. So the one that I'm talking about,
where he barely got his feet in
zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got his feet right on
we're talking about the same one.
Yeah.
Okay. When he brought that in, the ball slid down, and he had to bring the other hand in and regain possession. When he had to do that, his foot was up.
He had to make the adjustment. Yeah.
So
that's considered
okay
a bobble.
with that one.
Yeah.
The touchdown to Knox that wasn't a touchdown. That one to me was a catch. Because I was sitting here watching that, and I'm like, there's no way they overturned that because there's just not enough evidence there to overturn it.
Right.
And so, like, without conclusive evidence or proof or whatever, they typically don't overturn what they're calling the field. And then they did, and I was like, all right, well, whatever. The interception, and then once that interception happened, the first one though, I was like, oh, okay, I can see how something like that. Oftentimes, the opponent, hey, okay, we just stopped him, we got the ball back, and then he returned it like 50 freaking yards,
Momentum.
and that was the slowest return. Like I'm watching it on TV, thinking he's like walking up the field and nobody's coming after him.
Was it? See, they were coming right
that's the
at
way it
us.
felt.
Yeah.
That's
So
funny.
we were
See,
seeing a lot of the lateral movement.
Yeah, the different perspectives from how you can watch a football game.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here yelling at the TV like, somebody go get him. Like, what are you doing?
We were probably like, oh my God, look how fast he is.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. So let's talk about the second interception. To me,
that we saw clearly.
The DPI, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That should have been a PI. Like,
when you're being hugged and the ball is 4 yards away from you, I don't think you can catch that football.
Yeah, well, even before in the route, he was holding him.
Yep.
And then when he came up as the ball was coming at him and he hit him from behind, and like you said, gave him the big old bear hug. Like, how is that not called?
Right.
But I try to like take those with a grain of salt because the refs miss stuff all the time for us, against us, other teams, other games, whatever. It is what it is.
Miami fans would have cried.
Oh yeah.
Oh God! Could you imagine?
Yeah.
They're crying now. They're saying that this is the most that this is the most scripted NFL game like ever. I'm like,
they were almost handed that thing a few times.
They were almost handed that a few times.
So they didn't capitalize, and we did.
I've seen a lot of people, and not just Dolphins fans, but a lot of NFL folks saying that this is clearly a scripted season and the NFL is rigged. And I'm like, okay, get out of here with that.
If you can have that many people keep a secret, kudos to you, man. Like,
right? I know.
To me,
how long has the NFL been around?
To me, that's the same thing as NASA faking the moon landing. If you can keep that many people secret, like, good for you. Like, you got some dirt.
Yeah. I mean, the NFL has been around for 100+ years, so it's just dumb that people say that. However, I will add this comment: if it was rigged, as long as Buffalo wins with the Super Bowl and that's part of the script, I'm all for it.
I don't care. Whatever, man.
Yeah. Here we go. So we have a comment. 31 times as an NFL team allowed 30 points and won. Buffalo is one of those 31 times.
That's an interesting stat.
That's it. Huh?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
That's almost.
That's really.
Yeah, that is interesting. I wasn't aware of that. That's almost like the stat line that I saw. I think it was yesterday. I heard Jacksonville winning that game with a -5 turnover 3 times. That's ever happened, where the opposing team or the losing team had 5 turnovers and none, or forced 5 turnovers and had none themselves and still lost. Did you guys watch that game?
No, we didn't get to see any of it.
No.
Okay.
No, that was a Saturday night game. No, we were asleep by 6:30, 7 o'clock that night.
We wanted to get
together.
Yeah, we were.
So if anybody who's listening to us ever questions or wonders who the bigger NFL fan is, that right there tells you.
You try going.
You're just an insomniac.
Like 3 pounds of meat and then macaroni salad and having some drinks and coming home and not falling asleep.
Yeah.
It's the NFL. It's football. I can't. We're going to get back to that game in a minute, but I want to go back to the Dolphins game for just a brief moment. I know we're not going to spend a lot of time on it because it's done. We want to move forward now, but like you said a while ago, Allen towards the end of that game in the fourth quarter, second half, he just took that game back-to-back touchdowns. You can almost like feel the energy from the team, like in him saying, "Okay, this is dumb. I'm taking over. I'm doing what I do."
Yeah,
and to that point, though, sometimes he does what he wants to do or does what he does, and it doesn't always work out, which leads to the turnovers.
Yeah.
And I bring that up because I'm wondering what you guys and your thoughts are on Ken Dorsey. I know there's a lot of people kind of coming at him and have been for weeks. This isn't a new thing. I'd even say probably months since about the bye week. What do you know, I'll start with you, Mike. Your opinion on Ken Dorsey, and do you think he's doing a good job? Do you think this is more like his play calling, or is it more Josh Allen seeing something on the field and thinking he's got something?
I don't know whether it's more Ken or Josh. It's really making the call, but I like to think they had a couple of options. You know, he could pick and choose maybe. But what I really noticed last game uh, is that what I've heard other people say that it was sort of vanilla and not in a way that we weren't mixing it up. I feel like we were mixing up formations, but running a lot of similar plays over and over out of maybe just changing the formation a little bit. I don't know. I want to see more, I guess, but I was ready for that, for them to start turning it on. And like, I mean, there was some spectacular, there were some really big plays. But now are we sticking to basics because, that's what gets it done? And back to Scott's comment, what he said about those 31 teams and they've all been playoffs. Like teams that win the Super Bowl, they're not like, a lot of them are teams that are not just blowing out teams all season. They're just finding a way to win these games. So I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. I think he is doing a good job, and I'd hate to see him go. I mean, things are working. We're making it happen. We're on a good run right now.
Yeah. What do you think, Casey?
But I would like to see a little pizzazz, maybe. I don't know, a little something more exciting sometimes.
I've noticed a lot that a lot of Ken Dorsey's play calling is a lot of deep shots, more vertical instead of horizontal, and trying to run away downfield rather than and stretch the defense that way instead of trying to stretch it thin and then take the shots downfield by running those horizontal routes with Isaiah McKenzie and Stephon Diggs, getting them open, getting the guys chasing them. That's my only one knack on Ken Dorsey is I'd like to see more horizontal pass game rather than always trying to take the deep shot. I mean, we're good at the deep shots. I mean, it's clear Allen's one of the best,
stop.
if not the
Scott.
best.
Sorry, Anthony.
Is one of the best deep throwers in the game. But when you're going to take that many shots, you're going to have more turnovers. That's that's something you got to realize too. I mean, like with Josh Allen, yes, he has more fumbles this year than other running quarterbacks, but he runs a lot more than other quarterbacks. You compare him to Patrick Mahomes, Josh runs twice as much as him, and he's 3 times as physical when he runs. He's not going to bail out like those other quarterbacks. But Ken Dorsey, I don't want to see him go. If he left, I wouldn't be I wouldn't be completely torn. I guess that's just because it's only been 1 year with him, it wasn't the 4 years that we had with Dable. And so we saw him grow with Josh Allen. Ken Dorsey, he still needs to go through that growing process, and that's what he's doing now. In my opinion, he's only going to get better as an offensive coordinator. So imagine what he can do next year with Josh Allen and whatever weapons are added in this offseason.
Well said. That was my biggest point right there is he's essentially a rookie in this role.
Yeah.
Do we expect rookie quarterbacks to come in and wow us right off the bat? Do we expect rookie wide receivers and wow us right off the bat? No, we don't in most cases. So with Ken Dorsey, there's a learning curve. And I even tweeted this out the other day about that and like telling people, get off of him. I think he's doing a good job. We're a top 5 offense. We're second in the league in scoring. Like, you don't suck as a coordinator and have the second highest scoring offense in the NFL. I mean, you just don't. Now, a lot of that I know is the talent carrying them, but find me an offensive coordinator that is going to be second in the league with no talent on. I mean, it always comes back ultimately to the talent on the field. And that's my thing. My second point, he calls the plays. This game is in its simplest form is very basic. You line up against the guy across from you and you beat him. You execute the play. You do that, you're going to be successful regardless of what you call. Even if the defense knows the play, if you beat them on that play, you're going to be successful. So it ultimately comes down to the players executing the plays and, moving the ball forward. I think a lot of times some of these plays, and I heard a lot of it from the cover one guys in this game specifically because Miami was bringing a lot of zero blitz, a lot of cover one stuff as well. And you attack that by going over the top. That's what you do. Now, the flip side of that, and I did say this as well during the game, we were up, I think, 10, and I said, okay, this is the point now in the game. I think there's 10 minutes left where you start running the ball and you hit these short passes, kill the clock, shorten the game. And as soon as I tweeted that out, it was back-to-back deep balls to Gabe Davis, and I'm like, ugh. So it's frustrating as a fan to see that, but at the same time, if he hits those, that's ball game. Like, we put up another touchdown, and it's game over. And we're all like, oh, what a gutsy call. You know, we do that to every coach. It's always, if it doesn't work out, you're an idiot. If it does, you're a genius.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's just the
It's
way
true.
the fans think.
Yeah.
So really quick, just kind of give you guys a heads up. Anthony Stock here is actually a former military buddy of mine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he was previously a Chiefs fan when we were in the Army together. He has since converted to, I don't know what it is about my friends and Vikings, but another Vikings fan.
Okay.
I was going to say, I
How
think
do
I
you
said
convert? That's what I want to know.
I think I said
number
Scott,
one.
because we always have Scott on here who is the Vikings
Yeah,
fan,
yeah.
and I saw
Now he
something
did
similar.
switch over, become a Vikings fan some time ago. It was not. It was pre Patrick Mahomes and everything, so it wasn't any of that. And I don't think really either team was doing a whole heck of a lot at the time. But
we need the reasoning. We need the reasoning.
But now I'll remember Anthony and who he is, and thank you for your service.
Agreed. Not you, Papa.
there you go. Yeah,
I'm sure he
it's
contributed.
I contributed a little bit. We spent the first 4 years in the Army together at Fort Hood, Texas, and then we both kind of went in different directions after that. But obviously, we stayed in touch. So we didn't go to Iraq together, but so I want to throw this up here really quick. This is from Tony. Where to go? Here it is. Buffalo has 2 seasons till Allen Big Boy's second contract kicks in. I think it was a 6-year extension, wasn't it? So I think we have more than a couple years still, because I think he just signed that at like 2 seasons ago, wasn't it? Or yeah, 2 seasons ago.
But it's like all magical numbers because Bean can literally be like, Josh, sign your name here, and we have like $30 million of cap space.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and you say that bringing up this point
Converted
because
to a bonus.
Tony says that's your Super Bowl window. So he's basically saying that we got 2 more years.
Do it, get her done.
How many years does Josh Allen play football? That's our Super Bowl window.
I would agree. Yeah.
As long as he's here.
So
Sorry,
here's
but
his reasoning.
It didn't matter who was around Brady. He
Traded Tony Gonzalez and then traded Jared Allen. That's when he basically followed Jared to Minnesota. And I do hear that actually from a lot of people. If they do change teams, it's because of certain players that leave the team, whether it's via trade or whatever. One of my buddies here used to be one of my neighbors was a former 49ers fan, was a huge Joe Montana guy. And when Montana went to KC, he started following Montana over there in Kansas City. And it just kind of, grew into a fandom in that way. Let me ask you guys this. We bring that up, and I'll start with
I
you,
was
Casey.
just about to ask you.
If Allen leaves.
No, the answer is no. The answer is no.
You're still going to be a Bills fan 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, but I'll still root for Josh.
It depends it also depends on how he goes.
Imagine facing him in the playoffs.
If he went out like what that bullshit that LeBron did when he went to the Heat and he had like some big old spectacle, I'd be like, all right, you're a total douche. Like
all that went to charity though.
I don't care. I don't care. Like even LeBron says I did that wrong.
Something I know, and I did see that, but something good came of that still. So it's okay. We'll give it the pass.
But Josh will always have a special spot.
You said that you would be rooting for Josh Allen. What if, and we know this would never happen, but what if it was the Patriots? What if he got traded to the Patriots or he signed with the Patriots?
I hope he
Similar
breaks
when
both
Bruce
his
Smith
legs.
left Buffalo, he signed with then Redskins. I was so mad at him. Like, seriously?
I'd be mad at him at that point. I mean, I don't know. How do you replace him? So you pretty much just give up at that point. And then right off the Bills is losing and I guess out of good sportsmanship, I'd like to see him do good for what he's done here for us.
Screw
Well, let's not
sportsmanship.
talk about that. This worries me.
This worries me. I like I said, it mainly be about like how he goes out. You know, does he go out and he's like, yeah, this just doesn't work. We need to blow it. Like, does he go out like Russell Wilson? Because Seattle hates Russell Wilson now. You know, so like, does he go out like that? Because
he didn't adhere himself to the community though, the way Allen has. Like the
no,
Buffalo
but he
community,
brought him a Super Bowl. I mean that's like
Yeah.
the same. That's the same thing. Based like in my eyes, that's just as you bring him a Super Bowl or you're like that equal to the community. Like to me, that's the same thing.
I don't know. My team's never won a Super Bowl, so I can't.
I
say.
know. Not till this year.
Oh, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen,
boy.
right? Okay. Well, yeah, we'll get off of that kind of depressing conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, why'd you do that to me?
Let's go ahead and
Good. Okay.
Vikings were my second favorite team when they traded the farm for Herschel Walker. And you guys weren't alive then.
No.
No. Mike, you weren't yet, were you?
I don't know. What year was that?
Mike, how old are you? What year were you born?
90. So I'm
Okay.
Yeah. I'm
You
10 years
might
older
have
than
been.
the year 23. I will be.
Okay,
I'll be 33
1990.
in July.
And maybe Tony can give me clarification for sure. That Herschel Walker trade, I believe, happened in 89 or 90. Are you guys familiar with the Herschel Walker trade?
No.
Okay. This is what, I mean, as Bills fans, you should know this because this is ultimately why Buffalo lost those 2 Super Bowls against the Cowboys in the 90s.
Everything
It
is.
legit is. Okay.
Oh my God.
Dallas
Leave it to
Cowboys,
Joe to bring it up.
they had Herschel Walker, okay, one of the best running backs in the game at the time. Some
I know
people
who
say
he
one of the
is.
best to have played. And the Cowboys traded him to the Vikings. And basically they got,
So he says
I
I was
don't know.
around. It must have been early 90s.
yeah, it was like 89, 90, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Before this trade, here's some
I
trivia
don't
for
think
you.
I
The
was
Cowboys
following
starting
football.
quarterback.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. The Cowboys starting quarterback was a guy named Babe Laufenberg.
Babel Laufenberg.
Babe. B-A-B-E. Babe Laufenberg. Exactly. They were bad. The Cowboys were so bad, even with Walker. So they make this trade. And somebody that's listening, if you could throw up the actual trade details, that would be cool. But the Cowboys got a ton of draft picks that resulted in Russell Maryland, Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, like all these phenomenal players that they built that 90s dynasty with, and then subsequently beat the crap out of the Bills in the Super Bowl in one of the worst defeats in the history of Super Bowls. Actually, I think might have been the worst.
Isn't it not the worst?
52-17. That is
What's worse, losing like that or the way the Falcons lost?
So Emmitt Smith came out of that trade.
yeah. It was a huge
Because there were some
trade.
picks involved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what he's saying.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. I'm reading that now.
It was huge. And even today, a lot of people will tell you it's the biggest lopsided trade in the history of the game. Like it built that Cowboys dynasty.
Wow.
So that's the reason why, as
1989.
Bills fans. Okay, 89.
And
See?
18 players. Wow.
Holy.
It was insane. Yeah.
So it
You
was a
should
year
look it up,
before me.
Casey, after the show.
That's
Crazy
insane.
trade.
That is
You don't see
wild.
trade. Well, you do see trades like that, but
Not quite like that.
I think
I mean, Russell Wilson trade was pretty goddamn close.
I was gonna say the Russell Wilson is probably the closest one that I've seen since then. And maybe there are some others that I just don't recall, but yeah, crazy. And that's the reason why, like with Aaron Rodgers, if I'm the Packers, I trade him.
Oh, get rid of him.
If
I would
I'm the
dump Rodgers
49ers,
so quick.
If I'm the 49ers, trade Lance. Because
Oh,
right
God,
now,
yeah.
right now he's still worth something. If he comes out next season, the longer they would wait on a trade for that, the less the value becomes for him. The less he's playing, or even if he does play and he sucks, well, there goes your value out the window for sure.
Not even if he sucks. If he just plays the way he was this past year, I mean, that wasn't that great.
Uncle Joe to the rescue. Minnesota Vikings received Herschel Walker, Dallas's 3rd-round pick, 1990.
Wow.
Mike Jones, San Diego's 5th-round pick. Reggie Thornton, Dallas's 10th round pick. Pat Newman. There's more to it as well. I'm sure there were more coming. It was, insane trade.
And this says it must be the draft picks turned into players such as Emmitt Smith, Russell Maryland, Kevin Smith, and Darren Woodson. So they're also
Kevin Smith, Darren Woodson were both.
Darren Woodson too. Oh my God.
Yeah,
they
built that team off of that trade.
Legit, they did.
Now, props to the Cowboys organization for making good picks out of those trade.
When you make moves like that, I guess you gotta win.
That's another part of it, Ronnie. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we all crap on Jerry Jones and for how he runs a team, but we can say that they draft well. Micah Parsons, the best player that came out of that draft, hands down. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott, his first 3 years in the NFL, I mean, hands down the best running back in the NFL. Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, I mean, Michael Gallup, they pulled him.
At the height of Elliott's career, there was still a guy named Peterson. Jesus, what's his freaking name?
Adrian,
thank you. Who might have been the best running back in the league at the time, but
I don't know. But I mean, they draft well. I mean, that he always has, and it's odd. It weirds me out like that. That's the one thing he's good at, is getting the cheap young talent.
That's America's team. Players I think want to go there too.
Don't ever say
sort of
America's team on this
they,
show.
They don't, but they don't sign.
Say that.
Not
for long. They ain't
sign too many big time free agents. I mean, hell, they missed out on Vaughn. That's his hometown team, and he still chose not to go there.
Most of the draft success for Walker was Jimmy Johnson. Yeah, that was the head coach of the Cowboys at the time as well, Jimmy Johnson, who came over from the college ranks, coached for Miami, won a national championship with him, came over to the NFL. He's probably, in my opinion, the most successful college coach to make the transition to the NFL, because most of the time they fell. He's talking about Adrian Peterson.
This is something I was going to bring up too. I think Rodgers is going to go to if I was the Raiders, I'd be like, here's my first round picks this year, next year, the following year, and like 2/3.
Well, there was a comment Rodgers made on the jersey trade at the end of the game that he wanted to hold on to that one.
That's what you said. You said that he would. I
forget who was trying to trade with him now, but he said, I'm going to hang on to this one.
Jameson Williams.
Yes.
Jameson asked to swap. Yeah, that's crazy. See, I don't think he's going to play in Green Bay next year.
Did you see his comments on the Pat McAfee show? Basically asking him about if he's can still play at a high level. And he said that, he can still play at a high level.
I think I did see this.
Can still win an MVP. Is that with Green Bay or somewhere else? I don't know. So 2 things I pull out of that. One, obviously, I don't know part, whether that's staying in Green Bay or not. But number 2, and this was brought up on earlier today, I was watching NFL Network and they brought this up. The fact that he said, I can still play at a high level and win an MVP, as opposed to I can play at a high level and help a team win a Super Bowl, kind of tells you what kind of person Aaron Rodgers is, in my opinion. And I agree with that, because I like the Lombardi Trophy should be numero uno, like aside from all the accolades. And that's one reason why I love our guy, our QB1, Josh Allen. He doesn't care about all that stuff. Yeah, it's great. It's nice to have. Put it up on the mantle, collect dust, right? You want that Lombardi Trophy. That's what it's all about, and that's what players should be playing for. And unfortunately, some are not. They're playing for the dollar signs, which, okay, fine. I get it. It's life-changing, blah, blah, blah. Tell somebody who's currently unemployed. I don't care. But so you got
he also doesn't want to be part of a rebuild either, I think he said.
But I don't blame him for that. Who would? Yeah, who would?
I mean,
it's the same thing with Brady.
Got a lot of years left.
It depends. He's what, 38, 39?
Yeah. If he can pull a Brady.
Yeah.
Are you guys ready for this one?
No.
Who would you guys rather? Who would you rather have right now?
If Tua could stay healthy and protected.
See, I don't know. That kind of goes back to some of the questions that have been asked about, how important is getting that one trophy for you? Like, let's say, what is a good example? Like the Jets, maybe. I think they have a Super Bowl quality defense. They've got some talent on the offensive side of the ball. They've got a good offensive line. You plug in Aaron Rodgers into that offense and that team, they're probably a Super Bowl contender instantly, right? Would you disagree? Could you
No.
say that with Tua?
No, not with those weapons.
Yeah. See, I think Aaron Rodgers would make
That's a
that team
good
a
way to
Super Bowl
look at it.
contender. I don't think Tua does. Just
Yeah.
maybe next season Tua will prove me wrong, but I still feel like Waddle and Hill are making him what he is right now. And, as far as the statistical part of it. And I also don't think that Tua can last a full season anyways. Like, he has yet to do it. And unfortunately, it does suck, but you keep getting these concussions. It just gets worse and worse every time. It becomes easier and easier to get them. Like the last one that he got. Yeah, the last one that Tua got, I mean, I wasn't on the field. I wasn't the one with the helmet smashing my head on the ground, but it didn't look that bad. Like, you see guys hit the ground all the time and bounce their head off, and they just jump right up and they're fine, whatever. So I am concerned for Tua's longevity.
But again, it was the next day that he reported the symptoms, So is it going to be more if he keeps getting more of these, is it going to be more long offset? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, is it going to take him longer to realize? Like, is it not always going to be instant? Because
I mean,
obviously they're not playing right now, but I mean, you got to wonder if he'd clear concussion protocol if they were playing this week.
Yeah, I don't know. I did see a lot of people calling for they should just put him on the shelf for the rest of the season regardless, because he needs time to heal, and maybe that's what they were planning on doing. I don't know.
I think
I can't believe with how safe this league tries to be at times about it that happened the way it did.
I know.
Yeah, well, that's on the Dolphins.
True.
And somewhat Tua, like the first time when it happened in Buffalo, I know it wasn't a recorded concussion, but we all know.
But you get your bell ring, you want to get back in there and show you're tough and get it done.
Yeah, but
after a couple times,
I get it as a young guy. You feel like, oh, I'm good, I'm a man, But yeah, I do want to bring this up because this is a good point. As much as we all do not like Mr. Brady, he did this a lot. So
yeah, that was also when teams were not making as much money. The salary cap was a lot lower. He was making $25 million a year, which is like today's $40 million a year, because the cap is so high now, and it's only going up and up and up.
Yeah. Well, to this point, though, I do believe Allen will do the same. I would not be shocked if this offseason they restructure his contract, and if they need to take a pay cut, I have no doubt they'd be like, yeah, do what you got to do, and let's bring in some more talent. If it's what needs to happen to re-sign Edmonds and Oliver and Poyer, I don't think hands down he's like, yeah, let's do what we got to do.
Well,
win a couple Super Bowls and then run the team into the ground and give him his payday.
Well, look at what Mahomes did the year after he signed that 10-year, $500 million contract. He immediately reworked it to give them $30 million, $40 million of cap space. It's the exact same thing as Josh Allen. Like, his contract is like the one contract the Bills don't need to worry about, because, like I said, it's pen to paper, instant cap value.
Yeah,
I agree with Anthony here too, Aaron. He wants some weapons, and he's not just going to go to any old team.
But that's why the Jets would be good. I mean, right. they have good young wide receivers, and they have Tyler Conklin and CJ Uzomah at tight end, and
which brings up
3 good running backs.
Which brings up Anthony's next point. His Aaron Rodgers' only Super Bowl was the number 3 defense, and that's what the Jets have. I don't know if they're number 3, but they're one of the top defenses in the game. I mean, and that's why I would say that he would make them instantly a Super Bowl contender. Okay. Well, this is all off-season stuff. We got a game this weekend,
I know.
guys.
What are we doing?
Don't we? Wait, are we done talking about last game yet?
Yeah, we're moving on from the Dolphins. Their season's over, and we're over talking about them. We're done.
Well, there's one more thing to talk about, though.
Oh, there is one more thing we got to talk about.
There is.
All right. Go ahead.
Hey.
Get up there.
There we go.
Come on, Mr. Producer.
Wings of the Week is our version of like the MVP or player of the game or whatever you want to call it. This is Casey's baby. He thought of, and I think it's brilliant. So
it was a big hit. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
So there we have it.
This week in Kyer, the three of us have been going back and forth pretty much since the game about who we thought deserved it, and I've been locked in on Josh Allen just because I know he had 3 turnovers, and we all agreed that 2 of them were his fault, and that the interception from the DPI, like that's like the Isaiah McKenzie interceptions earlier in the season that just went right through his hands. You know, he can't control that. But Kyer, I mean, that one interception, that shouldn't be the number 1. It should be the number 3 in 0 passes defense. I mean, that guy had his hands on 3 footballs, and I was telling Mike, if Tyreek Hill, the one against Tyreek, if he didn't turn around and just randomly swing his arm, that ball, I mean, that was in his chest, you know, that he just got batted out. I mean, that was an easy one. Another one that he let go right through his hands on the other side of the field. He's just an athletic freak. I mean, he's so fast, and he's very physical at the line of scrimmage and downfield. And everybody was worried about him being so handsy downfield in the draft process, and it's paid off so far. I mean, look at Sauce Gardner. He doesn't get called for the DPIs, and Elam hasn't either. I think it's time for Sean McDermott and Leslie Frazier to turn the page on Dane Jackson. I mean, I think I've been clamoring for this all year. But I mean, Kyrie, I mean, he's shown up big in big moments. He had the interception against the Ravens. You know, he had this interception against the Dolphins. He's played very well this year. I think he's deserving of it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Yeah, Christian Benford,
receiver's shoulders.
Christian Benford is back in practice, and he was getting the starts over Elam at the beginning of the season. Like, he was outplaying him initially. So it'll be interesting to see what the team and the coaches do when all these guys are healthy. Like, this offseason is going to it'll be fun to watch, to see, you know, who goes where, what they do with who, and hopefully Poyer gets re-signed. I do want him to finish out his career here, but we also have some really, really good young talent in that secondary, so it's going to be fun to watch these guys. Before we move on, I mean, just kind of hit up on one of our sponsors here really quick. Spoon Liquor Cakery, got a big party coming up. Need some yummy and delicious cookies or cupcakes? Sarah at Spoon Liquor Cakery is your go-to. Just give her a call or text 315-283-6770 and let her know that Mafia Cast sent you and receive a 10% discount on your order. You can also find her on Facebook at Spoon Liquor Cakery, on Instagram, spoon_liquor.
That's right. We might even have more cookies at the game this week.
There you go.
Mike ruined the surprise.
I've heard the cookies are good.
I don't know.
I've heard the cookies are good.
Oh, yeah, we got to ship some out to Ronnie. God,
we do.
Dang it. How do we always forget this?
We'll get them there eventually.
Still waiting.
We're doing a lot of things for Ron. We're trying to get him to the game. We're trying to get him cookies.
We pitched to this game last minute. I mean, you got to cut us some slack.
Yeah. But shout out to Elam stepping in when we needed him, stepping up, and he got his wings.
I would like to see more of him.
I'd love to sit down with him and have some wings. But
I just want to throw this up really real quick. One last thing from Anthony. He ain't going to the Jets. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But it would be kind of funny because, you know, Brett Favre went from the Packers to the Jets. But I want to touch on one other thing about Kyer Elam. And I think it was the almost interception that you were just talking about. If you watch that whole play, Hill goes in motion, and Elam has to chase him down. Elam's got some damn wheels.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he does.
Man, I've heard. I knew
you're talking about Sauce. He kind of reminds me of him too. Similar size, you know.
Similar, yeah, they are build. Similar body size and build. It's going to be, you know, exciting to watch him as his career grows. And I tell you what, man, if he becomes what he's showing right now, and we've got White on the other side after a full off season of being fully healthy, and, you know, going through OTAs and all of that stuff, and all these. Von Miller comes back next year. I know we're still on this season. We're going to get to this game in a minute. But, man, our future's bright. Holy crap. Yeah. 2-year windows, Tony? No. We're like a decade at least.
It's true. It's true.
And I don't just say that because of Josh Allen or the talent that we have right now. But you look at – and you talked about this a while ago. with the Cowboys in their draft history, and we're even going back to the early '90s. McDermott's doing the same stuff right now with this Bills team. Is he missing on some of them? Of course, they all do. But I haven't seen a GM draft as well for this long a period of time since the early '90s with the Bills, when Bill Bowling would put that team together with Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas, Audrey, and all those guys. So that to me is even a bigger reason, honestly, than Josh Allen, of why I believe as long as Brandon Beane stays around, that window for the Super Bowl is who knows how long, maybe 20 years. The Patriots had a 20-year Super Bowl window, so why can't Buffalo?
Exactly.
I agree.
I mean, it's true.
And they don't draft well.
Ain't that the
Patriots
truth?
suck at drafting.
Ain't that the truth?
All right.
All right. Let's talk about some striped kittens.
Are we?
I'm ready to talk some trash.
Okay. We'll get to that.
Go ahead.
We do have a couple of other things we're going to get to here a little bit later. We had one of our listeners a couple of weeks ago wanted us to talk about the MVP race and Josh Allen compared to Mahomes. Following the Damar Hamlin tragic event, we kind of obviously put that all on hold. So we are going to talk about that, though. We'll get to that later. Let's talk about this game, though, right now. Bills-Bengals, keys of the game. I hope you thought about this ahead of time, Mike, and have some thoughts. Casey, go first.
Oh, and he's going to steal him from me.
That's
Gotta mess with me. I love it. All right.
Just keep going. My friend who runs the Stampede for the Bills, when I texted him about going to this Bengals game, he said, "So you're riding the wave." And that's like the perfect way to put this game, is ride the wave. Last year the Rams won all the playoff games leading to the Super Bowl by 3. And nobody remembers that. Nobody cares. They got to the Super Bowl and they won the game. And I was talking to another buddy of mine today to where I don't care what the game is, what the score of the game is at this point at all. It doesn't matter. I mean, were we supposed to blow out the Dolphins? Yes. But they're our division rival. This is the third time we've played them, the second time in just about a month. It was actually almost exactly a month. That was going to be a tough game no matter what. It's the playoffs just right on top of it. I think it's just ride the wave. Keep doing what you're doing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And we just put up 31 points or whatever it was, 33 points. And
34.
34. And
yeah,
34-31. And there's nothing wrong with that. You're going to win football games doing that. And we saw the stat. There's been 31 teams that have won a football game and given up 30 points. What's the chances that happens 2 weeks in a row? How often do teams go to the Super Bowl back to back? Hardly ever. I mean, the last teams to do it were the Chiefs. Yeah, I mean, the last teams to do it was the Chiefs, and they barely did it. I just think that I can't remember who I was watching, but they called the Bills like a team of destiny. They're like, after all the tragic and, excuse the French, but the bullshit that this team has gone through this entire year, between the blizzards, the top shooting, and everything else, Damar Hamlin, everything, just it seems like it's just kind of when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. It was like a storybook ending. The backup quarterback has to come in for the MVP leader, and they win the Super Bowl. And it's kind of like the same, it's like a story writing itself. The only way I see this ending is the Bills winning the Super Bowl. So it's just keep doing what you're doing.
Really quick, I want to answer Tony's question of where's the Buffalo game. The game is in Buffalo this weekend, so we do have that going for us. Mike, what are your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I like what Casey said. Ride the wave. We're on a run here. We gotta keep it together. Like I said, I say the same thing I said last week. I want to see him open it up a little more, and I want to see some, I don't know, some more. I don't want to say trick plays, but you know what I mean. Something a little more than the basics. I mean, the basics work and it gets it done, but God, does it worry us sometimes? And I know taking risky plays can end not so well, but I don't know. I feel a lot better beating a team by 2 possessions at least, maybe.
Of course, yeah, for sure.
Obviously,
yeah. So stay up, get ahead and stay ahead and just keep
yeah.
rolling. And God, protect that football. Protect that football. Minimize turnovers. Don't get any.
And there's Casey's dog.
Yeah.
Right on, like every week.
Right.
Hey man, you try controlling a 1-year-old chocolate lab.
But everyone's got to be there, ready to play, and we just got to outshine the other guys. You know, we just got to be
Even
the
if
ones.
it's just by a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of going to echo both of what you guys are saying, really, because, yeah, there's just, and I said this at the beginning of the year, there was just something about this season that felt different. And I'll say this, I'll guarantee you, if Buffalo wins the Super Bowl, there's going to be a movie about this season.
Oh, there will be a 30 for 30 so fast.
Yeah.
So
Not
fast.
even a 30 for 30. There's going to be an actual movie, and, you know, Tom Hanks is going to be in it.
Yeah. Who would he play? Who would Tom Hanks?
Obviously.
Yeah.
Tom
right.
Hanks, he can play Brandon Bean. I don't know.
He probably could.
But also to your point, Mike, these turnovers got to stop, man. Like, you take the look at this game against the Dolphins, take those turnovers out of the picture. We held them to 13 points, and we score at least probably 10 more ourselves, like 44-13. And the only other thing that I will add, God, can we stop dropping the damn ball?
Yeah.
Like,
we can. I know we can.
What is going on? Like, we lead the league in drop passes. First or second? I think number one. I think we're number one in drop passes.
But is that because we're passing a lot?
Well, that's the thing. It's the whole volume metric.
That's probably part of it. And that's something we can look at, actually, you know, and we can bring that up next week. You know, what are the percentages of drops? But like Gabe Davis is towards the top of the league individually, and he doesn't have that many targets compared to the others, you know, some of the top receivers in this league. But like we were saying before this game, playoff Gabe's a thing. Just like playoff Allen's a thing, so is playoff Gabe. Like, it's crazy when these guys come alive for these types of games. And why can't you just do that all season? Like, we'd be undefeated if Gabe Davis was like this all season.
I know. That's a long year. It's
long
year for these guys.
Gabe had like the quietest 100-yard game ever.
Yeah.
Last game. Like, everybody is still crapping.
I feel like he is kind of a quiet guy.
And he's quiet. I mean, he's funny. Like, if you catch him on those like the little videos of Josh Allen when they're out golfing and stuff. But it was weird. People are bashing him. I'm like, dude, he had 6 catches, like 106 yards and a touchdown. What more do you want from the guy? I understand he's not going to catch every single pass. Look at Stephon Diggs. Mike and I joke about it when we're playing Madden. Oh, Diggs had his one drop, so he's going to catch every football the rest of the game.
Yeah.
He does it. It seems like he does it once a game. Like, okay, it's the same thing with Davis, you know. But people highlight because nobody's going to crap on Diggs.
That's a great
highlight Davis. Yeah,
you take a mistake and you turn it into something.
Yeah.
Well, okay. What you just said, Casey, nobody's going to crap on Diggs because it's Diggs. I feel that's a lot of the reason why people are crapping on Dorsey, because they don't want to crap on Allen or Diggs.
Agreed.
Like,
Agreed.
No, we can't blame the player. It just has to be a coach. They were all over Dayball last year and the years prior, like, oh, he's not aggressive enough. We got a lead. We need to, like, go for the jugular and keep scoring points. Dorsey's doing that. We're trying to. And it's like, Dorsey's like making bad calls. And I mean, yes, there has to be a balance.
I don't think he's making
there.
bad calls, but
I don't either.
He makes questionable calls sometimes, but so does everybody. My wife questions everything I do.
Like, you got to get the players, you got to get consistency first before you can move on from playing the basic game.
Yeah.
Now, me being the type of, I guess, coach that I would be if I was, I would run the ball more. But it's not who he is. It's not who this team is. And that's fine.
But it's also how effective would you be running the football? You know, because the Bills aren't always that effective, you know, trying to run the football. Yeah. So if it's not working, then do what works. You know, that is when they try to get Allen in the rhythm, and they do start throwing those little check downs, those 4, 5, 6 yard hitch routes, and then they go back to try and take the shots again. You know, that's kind of how they get the rhythm back in offense. Just jump starting the engine.
Yeah, I mean, the offense isn't built around a running game. They are built to pass. That's what they do. Like, I just wondered, do Baltimore fans say, oh, our OC sucks because he doesn't throw enough. Like, that team is built to run the ball. Our team is built to throw the ball. You have the best arm in football. I'm not going to say he's the best quarterback because I don't want to get everybody's all in an uproar about Mahomes and stuff, which we'll probably do that here later. But I don't think too many people would argue that, like, purely physically, Allen has the strongest arm in the game. Why wouldn't you just use that? Like, why would you hand it off to Devin Singletary? No offense to Singletary, but he's not Travis Henry, or not Travis Henry.
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry. Travis Henry goes
He's
back with
definitely
the
not
ways of
Travis Henry either.
Bill's lore. No, he's not. But because he's not a power back. Travis Henry is more of a
Oh
power
my
back.
God. I didn't mean that.
That's for you,
Sorry,
Casey.
Casey. Oh God.
All right.
We're getting short on
Josh
time.
Allen versus Joey B. Bills average 28.4 per game. Bengals 26, 42 and 40. I was looking at their stats earlier today, and to Uncle Joe's point, they were eerily similar, like so close. Probably the biggest discrepancy or difference in them was the completion percentage. I believe Joey was around 68, maybe over 68, and
Josh was
Allen's
like
around 63, 64.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Burrow had like not even 200 more yards on about, I think it was like 80 or 90 more pass attempts, something like that.
Yeah, if I remember right, he's only averaging like maybe 10 yards per game more yards wise. So they are really, really
that's
close.
not that like outstanding. You know what I'm saying? Like when people say, "Oh, well, he was higher in yards," okay, he literally threw for like an extra 2 yards a game against like compared to my quarterback. Like, so no, like get out of here with that. I hate that kind of stuff.
Allen had 42 touchdowns on average. Yeah, 267.
You only get to boast if your dude was first.
And Joe.
Other than that, like you're literally like 5 to 10 yards a game difference.
Yeah. There's some conversation going on here in the chat about the neutral field versus not, and we'll get to that in a minute. But before we do that, I want to kind of throw this up here because we're talking about this Bengals game.
Another key.
And I'm actually in the middle of writing an article for BuffaloLowdown.com, and I'm going to talk about this very thing. The Lions, the Bengals line is in shambles right now. They have 2 starters and 3, both tackles included, are probably not going to be in this game. So 2 tackles and a guard. If Buffalo's front 4, Oliver and Rousseau specifically, don't take advantage of that, then that's a problem. Like
they better.
They should.
This is the game. This is the game that Oliver's going to prove. This needs to be the game that Oliver needs to prove that
I don't think
he gets that extension. Done. This is if they're out, then that's Ed Oliver needs to be like, this is why you need to keep me around.
Yeah. And Tony, Von Miller, he's out for the year with the as a PCL or ACL. You bring up Oliver, and one of the things that I've heard talked about with him is he tends to dominate when the offensive line is more inferior, which is unfortunate. We really need Oliver to become that Aaron Donald type. Maybe not to that level, obviously, because there's only one Aaron Donald. But somebody who can consistently put some pressure on the quarterback, regardless of who's blocking him.
I think that's what Anthony was getting at, is that we need Von. He would be a nice addition.
Well, obviously. Yeah, I see his second comment there. Obviously, Von Miller would be a huge boost, but unfortunately,
is Tony just like all grumpy because he like his Vikings are on the couch watching this football game?
Oh man, you had to go.
I mean, they lost to Daniel.
We're trying to gain viewers, not lose them.
I mean, they lost to literally the Bills scraps.
Yeah, Isaiah Hodgins. I'm loving me some Isaiah Hodgins right now.
Who isn't? Are you kidding me?
He was on NFL Network earlier today too. They were doing a little interview with him, and he was talking about Stephon Diggs and Daboll and his time with Buffalo and how much he learned and just learned about how to prep for the game, how to practice, how to work out, how to study film, and just how to be a professional and all of those things. And it is unfortunate that he didn't get the opportunity here in Buffalo, or there. Were you guys in Buffalo? Not here because, I wouldn't mind if I could have like a one-on-one with McDermott and Brandon Beane and be like, So what happened? Like,
Why'd you keep him over McKenzie?
yeah. I don't know. It's just strange to me that sometimes, again, I'm not going to put those two guys down because they've done a phenomenal job building this roster.
Oh God!
And they have missed on a few. Wyatt Teller's another one. Like, they just.
But without losing Wyatt Teller, we don't get Josh Allen.
Wyatt Teller was well after Josh Allen.
We traded the pick, Wyatt Teller, and Tyrod the picks to Cleveland, which is what ultimately turned into Josh Allen.
I'll have to double check that because I thought he came after Allen. But anyways, we'll move forward. Let's talk about.
We didn't do scores.
Oh, and there was one other. What's that?
Scores. We talk keys, but not scores. Are we going to do scores?
Yeah, we will in a minute. You need to slow down.
All right. Get antsy. Can you tell? This is exciting.
Oh my gosh, what is his name? Hold on. Let me find it.
Jim, George, Bill, Frank, Chris.
It's another injury. And well, yeah. I mean, the offensive line, yes.
Are you talking about the corner?
Yeah. Awuzie. I can't remember the
Chidobe Awuzie.
Yeah. So I've read that he's their number one corner. He's been out for a while though. The Bengals pass defense is 16th in the league, regular season, obviously. I think that's where Buffalo can have the advantage. One, in the trenches. I think our pass rush, just the four guys in front can get to Burrow. And then I think if Allen and our receiving core can take advantage of a weak Bengals secondary, I think we can make just enough plays in both the passing game and on the pressuring Burrows to come away with a win. However, because true to Buffalo Bills this season, it's going to be freaking close. We're going to pull ahead, and then we're going to let them back in. We're all going to sweat. We're all going to lose a few pounds because of it, and then they're going to pull it out in the end.
All right, then.
I like it. So what's your score prediction, Pop Around?
Man, every time we do this, I want to pick Buffalo by, 10, whatever. Because on paper, we should win this game easily largely because of the injuries.
Did you know Vegas has Buffalo favored by 5.5?
5.5.
When that line opened, it was 3. It was -3 Buffalo.
Yeah, and I think it's because of those injuries on the offensive line. In the game against the Ravens, the Bengals, they were moving up and down the field. When they lost Jonas Jennings, or not Jennings, well, the other tackle, the left tackle.
It's a lot of names.
When they lost him, that's when the offense just kind of shut down. Like, really, they just could not do what they were normally doing. And the Ravens defense, although the Ravens defense is pretty good, especially since they added gosh, I'm terrible with names. I just talked about this guy too, but the middle linebacker, all pro. But anyways, no, not Logan Wilson. Anyways, I just feel like that our defense, 6th best defense in the league, we should be able to make some plays. We should be able to get this done.
There we go.
There's Uncle Joe's.
We get Joe's.
34-21. I don't see one in here from you, Tony. I need a score prediction from you.
He left.
Oh, he
Did
bounced.
He? Ah.
Oh, yeah. He's got to go play some Apex Legends. That's fine. All right. I just
quit stalling.
Roquan Smith.
Does Buffalo Roquan Smith? That's the one. Does Buffalo make a statement here? That's the question.
What do you consider a statement?
Last week was a statement.
Not a good statement.
No, it's still a statement though. It's
you know what I mean.
After all that crap,
there it is.
Talking.
There it is. 30-27. So he's got a 3-point win. Man. Okay. Here we go. Buffalo's on this streak of 30 plus. So they're going to get 30. I'm going to say 35. And because we just have this knack all season of keeping the opponent in the game, I think it's 38-30.
38-30.
Yeah.
All right.
Bills.
I'm going
Well, yeah.
34-27. 34-27 Buffalo.
Casey's 34-27.
No,
And I wrote
no, 34-30. I'm sorry.
34-30 for 3 points. And I wrote it down
That's
earlier
4
too,
points.
before you brought it up, the 3-point thing. Oh yeah. I'm going sorry. I'm going 35-38 Bills.
38-35. Yeah. Okay. I mean, honestly, I don't even know that Cincinnati is going to get in the 30s. I don't. What concerns me, though, is the fact that, again, Buffalo's just been all season long allowing these teams to hang around, and they do just enough to beat whoever it is they're playing, regardless of their level of talent or whatever. So that kind of concerns me, and that's the only reason why I say that it's 38-30. I think, unfortunately, we probably have a couple of turnovers again, but I think our defense can do just enough to compensate for that, I guess, like they've been doing. So, yeah, I'll stick with 38-30.
All right.
Before we continue on, so a couple other things really quick. Number one is this little nugget. Join BetUS. They are America's favorite sports book. You can go over to my bio on Twitter at Ronnie Eastham. There's a link there. Get yourself signed up, make a first-time deposit, and you will receive 125% sign-up bonus. We are working on getting a promo code that you can use going forward. However, we don't have that yet. So when we do, we will certainly share that with you. Last thing, guys, and I know we're already over, and that's fine. The MVP race. Is Mahomes a lock?
Yep. I mean,
I can't say that, Alan, so don't even ask me.
I don't like the
I'd love to
award
see Alan
being
get it. I
called
can't say
most
I
valuable
can't
player.
count him out.
Because it all, like, my whole thought process with this started when Russell Westbrook had the first triple double season, and didn't win MVP. And if it wasn't for him, that team wouldn't have won, I don't know, 20 games, 10 games. I don't watch NBA, but I know enough to win. If you do something historical like that, you're the most valuable player to your team, most valuable player. Josh Allen to the Bills is hands down the most valuable player.
Yeah.
We lose Diggs. That's going to suck, but we still have Josh Allen. And it's the same thing with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. If they lose Travis Kelce, that's going to suck, but they still have Patrick Mahomes. So between those two, who's more valuable to their team? To me, you break it down. All right, so I would say Andy Reid's probably a better coach than Sean McDermott. At least at this point in their careers, I would say so.
I mean, if you're going to compare accolades, of course, but there are different types of coaches.
When McDermott gets to Andy Reid's age, he might be 10 times better coach he is. You know, I mean, he's still young.
This is 30 years from now.
Well, it's only his 7th year coaching. You know, he's still growing and learning as well. By the definition, Allen's the most valuable player in the league, just the same way LeBron was for 15 years, the most valuable player in the NBA every year in and out, because of him, his team was so good. Because of Josh Allen, the Bills are so good. The Eagles, that's a mix of Nick Sirianni and all the additions that they've made, you know. So, I mean, Jalen Hurts played out of his mind this year, but he did not. I don't think he's the MVP because of all the weapons. Same thing as Tua. Take that right away because of all his weapons and his coaching. Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen are the two MVPs of the league. I mean, Mahomes just has the stats to win it.
Yeah. And for me, that drives me nuts.
Yep.
Because
Josh Allen
it is
deserves
a stats-based only, well, I'll say the stats-based and name recognition only award. Like, you can go back 3 seasons ago when Josh Allen first came on and just exploded in the league with his incredible season, and Aaron Rodgers won it. You can make an argument that season that Josh Allen should have had the MVP. But that was his first year of putting up those kind of numbers, and it was like, Josh Allen, isn't this – wait, who's that guy again? Oh, yeah, that's the guy we thought was going to be a bust. Maybe he still is because he's got to prove it for another season. That was a lot of the narrative at that time. Mm-hmm. So Aaron Rodgers got it. I think if Allen put up those same numbers this season, Allen would be hands down MVP.
Yep. Agreed. I think if he just literally had less turnovers, I think if he had 10 interceptions this year, he would win MVP hands down.
Yeah. Well, Mahomes has got 12 picks himself. I mean, he's no.
Yep, that's only two less than.
Yeah, I don't know how many fumbles
Allen.
Mahomes has though. I can't say that for sure. I know
Probably
Allen,
not nearly as many because he doesn't run as often.
Mahomes probably win it, and I'm gonna feel like I did when LeBron James beat Carmelo Anthony for Rookie of the Year. Because I'm loyal to Syracuse.
Yep.
So there's a couple of things. So this was sent to us by one of our listeners, and this was a few weeks back. So keep that in mind. But at the time, Mahomes had just a little less than 300 yards more. He had only 2 total touchdowns more, and actually, I believe Allen passed him at some point, but because of that one game with the Bengals, the interceptions at that time were the same. In fact, over the last, I think it is 6 games, Allen has fewer turnovers than Mahomes. I don't know the exact number, but I did see that stat earlier today. A couple of other things. Mahomes, offensive line ranking second compared to Buffalo's 26, which I believe that's coming off of PFF numbers. Games in adverse weather. Allen's played in 7 adverse weather games. Mahomes 0. Clear weather or dome. Mahomes has played in 14 games. Allen 7. Drop pass rate. That would be Allen number 1. Mahomes 6th most drops. That's of course the team ranking. So there's a lot of.
You're getting me really hopeful.
Well, there's a lot of exterior factors that I think come into play here. Nobody's going to look at that, though. Everybody's going to look at the fact that Patrick Mahomes set the record for the most total yards by a quarterback this season, although he did need that 17th game to do it because he did not break the record after the 16th game, which, okay, you still break the record. That's fine. And I'm not going to say put an asterisk next to it because of the 17th game, but that does change that.
Hey, man, we had a countdown for Josh Allen. We can't say much.
We did, but that countdown, if you looked at those numbers, he was on pace to break it after 15 weeks at one point. And then all the weather shit hit. How many games because of the weather? The injury. Like there was so many outside factors that changed the trajectory because I think at midseason, if you asked anybody, they was like, oh, yeah, Josh Allen's got the MVP. It's his. And he was the MVP favorite coming into the season. I do think Mahomes is a lock for it this year.
So Mahomes, sorry to interrupt, but he had almost 1,000 yards more passing than Josh Allen.
Well, keep in mind that he played one game more too.
He had 5,250, and Allen had 4,283. So give him the average is for Josh Allen. That's 267. So make it even. He's threw for 750 more yards.
Yeah,
than Josh. He had 41 passing touchdowns. Josh had 35. So give Josh, low side 2 touchdowns. So he's at 37 from that missed game. Mahomes had the season. I mean, he deserves it.
He did.
I mean, but Allen also deserves it as much for the same reasons.
Yeah,
and the other reasons that are irrelevant to it, though.
Well, that was my point. Is the reasons that people aren't going to talk about is the things that affect a player's stats, which largely is the weather, like the injury, the weather. And I know this came up, on social media a few times, and people are like, you can't use weather as an excuse. Yeah, you can.
Yes, you can.
How many passes did Mac Jones throw last year in that win game because of the weather?
Yep.
Like it is a thing. It does change things. All right. I think I'm done with that little rant. Last thing I will say is people please lay off of Ken Dorsey. I think he's doing a great job. We have one of the best offenses in football. So stop calling for his firing. Stop hoping that he gets signed as a head coach to Carolina. Like give this guy a break. Now give him, a couple years to kind of learn the role and the position. And then, we'll see.
Absolutely.
Any last things from you guys?
Yeah, real quick. Mike and I are going to the game this weekend, and the tickets were given to us by an anonymous donor, somebody that would not like their name to be given out. But we just want to say thank you very much. I mean, it was very thoughtful of them to do that, and we will for sure be returning the favor.
Oh yeah, we're very grateful for that. So
Awesome.
that being said, thank
parked
you.
on Allen Street, right between Mafia House and Hammerline. Let's go freaking do this.
All right,
It's gonna be
up.
the
Let's
best.
party
One
up.
more.
Yep.
One more thing, really quick. Just threw it up there. Check out if you go to Twitter at Bills Mafia Babes, there on their site. It's from Terrell Dodson, I believe, posted the GoFundMe link where you can donate, and all the donations go to help the Buffalo community, kind of which is still rebuilding and trying to uncover from all the snowstorm. Well, the 2 snowstorms last month. So you can do that, and that's all I got. Go Bills!
All
Go
right,
Bills.
let's go Bills.